Welcome back, Fragrance Fiend here today, reviewing a bit of an impulse buy. Up until a week ago, I never even heard of this brand, but it didn't take long for me to get obsessed. If you haven't actually heard of this brand before, their whole approach is investing back into the juice of the perfume. Essentially, the founder of the brand discovered that most other companies only invest around 2% of the actual base cost of a perfume back into the perfume. So you buy a $200 bottle, what's left in the actual juice? That's $4. As you can tell by the boring packaging, boring design, and boring names, not as an insult, but it's purely just a bit of a metaphor to showcase how much they actually pour back into the quality of the juice, rather than on marketing, which explains why I've never heard of them before. And today I have with me OR 2018, which means it's an Oriental fragrance released in 2018, and the perfumer behind this one is actually the same guy behind Black Orchid by Tom Ford. And they really pride themselves in being quite minimalistic. Even when you open this up, I'm actually a little more impressed that they have some paperwork which does tell you a lot about the brand and the fragrances, which is more than enough. Because when you're wearing a fragrance, not everybody knows what the bottle looks like or really cares. The compliment you get is based on your scent, not how cool the bottle often looks. And this is simply it here. If you look into fragrance and the marketing, it costs a lot of money. Even the packaging alone can cost a fortune. The brand also prides itself on not giving their perfumers a brief. A lot of perfumers are given very strict outlines of what they have to create for a brand. But here they have full creative control. They also get an unlimited budget and have an unlimited time frame, and to prove that, their last release was in 2020. I've only worn it a few times since I got my nose on it a week ago, but this is one I knew I had to get. So this is the packaging. What you get is quite simple. Since my longer videos have been appreciated, I'd love to share this brand. I'm going to read these cards out. So the first one simply says, no cover stories. Fragrance is personal, this is personal. Confidence lets you focus on what matters most, so we spared you the gimmicks, stripped the cover stories, and put your money inside the bottle. Inside this box you'll find a unique scent designed by an innovative perfumer who had creative freedom and an unlimited budget. The fragrance is created from the finest sustainable and ethically sourced ingredients, and that message is from their founder, Aurelia Applebaum. The next sheet is a little picture of the perfumer with their message on the back. So on the final card it gives a description of the fragrance, and this is what it says. This is a warm perfume that projects comfort and confidence. David Appel created it during a period of turmoil in his life when he was seeking stability. For this fragrance I wanted something like a safe haven, so I grounded it on ingredients that deliver the security and solace of home. You are surrounded by the intense, bittersweet and mysterious aroma of myrrh, infused with a wide spectrum of delicious, almost edible notes. Vanilla beans from Madagascar, coffee, chocolate, bakery, caramelized sugar, and whiskey for warmth. All these are tied together with a new cannabis core that David was experimenting with at the time. I called it Cannabis Cupcake. It was about reassurance with a sense of humor, perhaps. Unlike many other bottles or packages, they'd never have the no breakdown on them, but this one does. And in the top you have blood orange, star anise, and lemon sugar with a heart of cannabis accord, myrrh, and night blooming jasmine, lastly with a base of vanilla cream, Tonka, and Driftwood. So let's get into my favorite part of this video and give it a spray. That is just incredible. I honestly cannot put into words how delicious this is. My mind wants to describe this fragrance in a million different ways, but let me give you a bit of assurance first. So I hate the note of cannabis. I do not like it from Mullen and Getz or in any other perfume, but the way they add it to this is just perfect. It adds a tiny bit of earthy edginess, but you give it to the average person, they would not be able to pick it out. I didn't until I knew it had cannabis in it, but this is done in such a creative, reinventive way. In fact, I wouldn't even really be able to pick it out. There's so much more going on in this scent. If you've had a Negroni before, it's like that orange zest you have in there, just adding a tiny bit of citrus element to the mix with a much more darker whiskey accord. Not one that smells boozy, but something a little more refined. The lemon sugar part almost is reminiscent of the icing on top of a cake, and as sweet as a note breakdown sounds, it's really not that over the top. It's sweet to the perfect degree. It's intoxicating in an edible way, but not in a way that makes you sick. It's quite reminiscent of just walking into a bakery and just smelling everything around you, including that coffee aroma as well. Coffee is one of my absolute favorite notes in perfumery, but I really can't name enough that I like. So many brands just fail at it, but this is exactly how I like it. The myrrh in this fragrance does add that mysterious element, almost somewhat Middle Eastern, but westernized at the same time. And of course in the base it's rounded out by that vanilla and the woods. I went through a bit of a vanilla phase where I wanted to wear anything but vanilla. If you've been watching my videos, you'll find that I've really been loving my freshies for the past year. Anything citrus aromatic, and I've really stayed away from my sweeter scents because I kind of lost faith in them, but I think it's really just the quality of ingredients they use for these, and even for some of the synthetic elements, they've just nailed the balance. There's enough coffee in it to make it exciting. The cannabis adds a mild earthy element, but not enough to be detected alone. You got the blood orange for zest, and even the jasmine jasmine I don't pick up that much, and usually I get such a tinge on my nostrils when I smell too much jasmine. Even though I only found out about this product for the first time a week ago and just got home buying their first fragrance today, I really have to say this one's in my top 5 amber scents, and probably in my top 3 gourmand. Even from the opening, it just has such a warm, intoxicating embrace. With so many fragrances, I find that I'm either loving the top and not liking the dry down, or vice versa, or it has a great first impression but then just dies off, but this is just a 10 out of 10 all around from the top to the dry down. If anything, it's actually gotten more stronger after a few minutes have gone by. I feel like if anything, the jasmine just gives it a tiny bit of a lift. There's no floral element detectable whatsoever. This one also defies any label. It's completely genderless. You can wear it at any age. It's got the coffee and vanilla, which gives it a tiny bit of a youthful side, as well as that cannabis and whiskey, which give it a more mature element. The only label that I will give it is that it just smells of confidence and allure. There's only one store in the entire state that actually stocks this brand, so I'm hoping you're able to find it in the US, where my main audience is, or anywhere else in the world. But this is 100% blind buy worthy if you are into those type of scents, or if you like what I've pretty much described so far. Projection and sillage are definitely above average. I've been able to smell it myself as well as other people. Longevity isn't too over the top. For a scent like this, I would have thought maybe 10 to 12 hours, but that's definitely pushing it. But I definitely get around 8 hours, which I think is the ideal point, especially for the price point of this one.
The answer is $132.75.
So hopefully it should cost somewhere around that mark. And as I mentioned, the perfumer previously worked for Tom Ford. He knows what he's doing. He's given the ability to be able to create what he wants to create. And I have to say, this is above the quality of anything Tom Ford have released in the past 10 plus years. So if you're like me and you've been in the game long enough to not care about the packaging or the marketing or who's wearing what or the brand exclusivity, and just want a good, interesting scent, then this one is for you. Or even after your 4th, 5th, 6th, or like me, a 12th Xerjoff. The packaging feels nice, but after that many, it becomes meaningless and you just want to get down to the scent. So if you've been following my channel long enough, you'll know that I'm quite brutal with my ratings, but I have to score this one a perfect 10 out of 10. And over the past year and a half, out of the 50 plus videos I've released, I've only given a 10 out of 10 maybe 3 or 4 times. So this one gets a 10 out of 10. I know I normally rate bottle design and packaging and all that into it, but I think the scent alone, and obviously the price as well, justify this rating. Last thing I haven't really taken note of yet is the atomizer test. Let's give that a go. So pretty basic, nothing too special, but I actually do appreciate that it doesn't waste your fragrance. It gives you the right amount of what you need. That is more than enough. In fact, this one also wins the award of the most amount of times that I've actually gone to spray my wrist after smelling myself. In fact, I have to say, don't buy this one. This is my scent. You will become addicted to it and you will have to buy this one for life. Anyway, that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Anyway, I can't wait to buy more of these to be able to show you more of the brand. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much again for watching. I'll see you next time. And if you do happen to see this one, give it a smell and let me know what you think in the comments.